Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, a sports ethos show brought to you by our great partners at FanDuel. I'm Aaron Bruski, and joined always, as always, I could talk, by the great Dr. A. On today's show, we're diving into top ads, breaking down players in the drop zone, and highlighting the best streamers that can help you guys win your week. Let's get started. Doc, how you doing?
Drew, people don't realize what happens right before we go on the air, but we had a really spirited morning putting this show together. And you keep floating this idea to Andre, like let's record these meetings and provide them to people, to subscribers, if they wish to watch them, because honestly, for me it's probably as entertaining, if not more, than the show.
I think it's more entertaining than the show. There's tons of fantasy value in there as well. Basically, I would say this: if you're a subscriber, an NBA Fantasy Pass subscriber, I guess a subscriber at all here at Sports Ethos, send your feedback to Andre, because he's kind of gatekeeping this and withholding it from the people. And we need to really power to the people.
You really get the real us, because we're talking shit and cussing at each other and throwing stones, and it's fun.
And it wakes me up, and I get ready for the show. I don't think if we did not do that, I don't know what we would do here on this show. But
my first ad.
Yeah. Right? Oh yeah. By the way, yeah. First ad, actionable stuff. Doc, let's hear it.
We talked about him yesterday. I think he was the cover. I'm not going to call him cover boy, but he was the cover person.
He was the cover boy.
He was the cover boy of our show yesterday, I believe. And it's Walter Clayton Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies. 12 points. 8 assists, 2 steals, 2 rebounds. In his last 3 games, he's averaging over 10 assists, and he has 8 steals in 3 games. And I feel like he's only going to get better, and Memphis is not trying. The only caveat is there was no Scottie Pippen, there was no Ty Jerome. We still don't know where Ja Morant is. But Cam Spencer and Walter Clayton Jr. both played very well yesterday. And, I asked you yesterday if Walter Clayton could be a league winner, and we were kind of like, maybe if everything falls, if the stars align. And I still feel that way today, and maybe even a little better about it. But, if Pippen and Javon Small?
Yep, correct.
Javon Small and Ty Jerome and Cam Spencer, if all those guys are going to play, it's going to be very difficult for Clayton to keep doing this. But I was pretty happy with what he did last night.
Yeah, a couple things there. I said he was capable of being a league winner. I said a 20% chance if we go to the tape. I believe that's what I said. I would up the numbers a little bit, maybe 30, 35. That's a damn good number. Here's the thing. When they made the trade, it felt like everybody was so fixated that Utah did a kind of weird thing. And, they talk about the draft picks, and then Walter Clayton comes across, and I just don't think people gave it that much credit. But this is a guy who was a relatively high draft pick, has a decorated college career, and basically lands in Memphis. And it seems like maybe they'll prioritize him, and producing at a mid-round level over the last week, and not hitting a ton of shots from the field, but he's hitting a ton of free throws. So it's all good for Walter Clayton right now. And it's all good for everybody in Memphis. There are 10 players over the last week ranked inside of the top 150. And Doc, I will give you all the credit in the world if you can tell me who the 10th is.
The 10th player in the what?
In the top 150 for the Memphis Grizzlies this last week on a per game basis.
Jalen Wells?
Nope. It's one Ty Jerome, who prior to that game was producing in the top 20 range. So Memphis is a fantasy factory right now. There's some questions about who's going to play on a given day, but if we can get that piece of the equation worked out, there's a lot that's going on that's really good. And Cedric Coward even got back and had a good game last night. Heck, Jalen Wells had a good game. Cam Spencer had a good game. In fact, who do you like, Doc? Do you like Walter Clayton or Cam Spencer?
I don't know, man. I like them both. I had them both in my FanDuel lineup last night. It won. I picked Cam up for yesterday's game in one league. I cut him today because they only play one more game this week. And I'm looking, I used last week's week ahead show information to find me a little Friday, Saturday secret sleeper streamer. And I'm going to make that move tomorrow morning. I don't know. I think again, Cam Spencer is safe. If you're looking for safe and steady, you go Cam. If you're trying to hit a home run and pull a league winner out of the rough, I think it's Walter Clayton.
Yeah, Cam Spencer showed what happens when he actually participates in the offense. He's been a top 50 to 60 guy over the last week. Just after everybody gives up on him and he stays cruising at that 125 level. Talked about it yesterday. It's just 125, 125, 125, reaches up, has one good game, and it just drags everything up because he's super efficient. His percentages are great, doesn't turn the ball over. It's just great stuff. I'll take us to this place called Memphis, Doc, and Javon Small. You mentioned him a second ago. 11 points, 7 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 1 3, 33 minutes. Welcome back to the NBA. He spent a game in the G League. No reporting whatsoever. Thank you, social media platforms, for decimating the NBA reporting core. So we basically get no news anymore. That's great. Hashtag engagement or whatever. But Javon Small has been good every time he's been on a basketball court over the last 3 weeks. This game off here and there, I think it's going to be a big deal for the guards like Scottie Pippen Jr., Ty Jerome, Javon Small. At least until Javon Small gets a deal. I kind of think it'd be a shock if he didn't get a deal with the way this guy's played this season. A lot of moving parts with Memphis, and not a lot of reporting. So we got to kind of keep an eye on that. But I don't know. Maybe you don't trust him in a situation where you can't manage games played. That's the only thing I can say. But even then, I think he deserves consideration as a stash. It's hard to stash at this time of year. You got to really measure your situation out. But if I'm going to stash, it's going to be somebody like Javon Small. All right, Doc. Who do you got next?
Keeping it in Memphis, I guess. Olivier Maxence Prosper. And man, he had a dud on Tuesday, right? 2 points, 2 rebounds. And I was like, oh boy. And I don't know why, but the salary was right. I threw him into my FanDuel lineup yesterday. 17 points, 9 boards, 2 steals, 2 threes, 5 of 13 shots, and 5 of 10 free throws. So if you're worried about your percentages, I don't know if Omax is the way to go, but he came through, had a good game last night, and him and Taylor Hendricks should both have plenty of big games night after night as long as Santi Aldama is out. And Brew, while we're talking about Memphis, you mentioned this is a fantasy-friendly team right now. Here's a list of guys you can play any given night. Ty Jerome, Cedric Coward, Jalen Wells, Gigi Jackson, Santi Aldama, Omax, Taylor Hendricks, Cam Spencer, Walter Clayton, Scottie Pippen, Javon Small. Maybe it stops there. Maybe Ryan Rupert, but that's a huge list of players, man.
It's kind of crazy, and it's I think the small lineups tilt toward stat friendly situations, but back to Prosper, he's basically kind of a question mark. You mentioned his percentages. He shot 40% in Dallas. He's been running 55%, maybe a little bit south of that after this last game. But the numbers are kind of confusing for him. We don't know exactly what he is. Had the bad game. Now he's back on track. This kind of line points him toward easy mid-round value. I kind of think he's got a late round floor. But if Cedric Coward plays and Santi Aldama returns, then we might have some trouble between he and Taylor Hendricks. Did you even say Taylor Hendricks in that list, by the way?
I did.
Okay. All right. That was so long. I almost thought you were repeating names, but Memphis is a factory right now. And hopefully they can just kind of keep it going and not turn into these. And I hit a last thing on Memphis, guys. I promise. I kind of am a little worried about Memphis in the sense that I wonder if they're going to just do the rest 2 players every night thing. Or rest 1, but probably 2 players. And if it catches everybody, like if they do a wheel, so to speak, I think that would just be the ultimate buzzkill, because otherwise it's all set up for them to be good. There's not a lot of ground for them to be gaining in the tank race. Yeah, they will tank, but not exactly. They're not going to tank like Washington or some of these other teams. All right, let's get out of Memphis and let's talk Brook Lopez. And he had 17 points, 3 boards, 2 assists 1-3, 21 minutes. I think Isaiah Jackson will replace Yannick Kona Niederhauser's minutes. That injury did not look good for him. Some sort of a foot injury. He was having a hard time getting off the floor. But I think this at least solidifies Brook Lopez's role, and especially as they rest some guys down the stretch and maybe try to establish what they're doing at the center position with Brook. That would be yeah, I did just take your guy, didn't I? Yeah, hey, I took your guy, which that means it's a really good ad, by the way. And now you have to take my guy. So I'm going to stop talking.
Wait,
and
I got some Brolo. I got some Brolo stuff.
This is how I know a certain somebody only got 2 hours of sleep last night. Not going to say his name. Not going to say his name. But
Andre says you didn't take my guy, that this was all in the script.
He likes to do that, you know.
All right.
It's a psyop for him to try to fool us on air, and it works like half the time at least. Here's
the thing with Brolo. One, I said the other day I was done with him. That was pre Niederhauser injury. Niederhauser's gonna miss time, and John Collins is hurt. There's nobody else. It's Brolo time. And then the other thing is the Clippers play Saturday and Sunday. Well, I have a full roster tonight. I have a full roster on Sunday, but I need a Friday, Saturday, some help. So I picked up Yabu. I'm running him, Yabusele. I'm running him tonight, dropping him tomorrow, picking up Brolo, and running him on Friday and Saturday. And that should get me through the weekend with as many games as I can.
Are you in a playoff setting with this? Are you fighting for your life?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I'm going against the number one team, and we're in the final four, and I've got Wemby and Luka going tonight.
Oh, that's that auction league where you were able to get both those guys.
It is. But now I'm just hoping that the dude I'm playing against or other people in that league are not listening to this podcast and are going to go steal Brolo from me.
The existential question. Well, I can always just go on and on about the Sacramento Kings, so you could have a little breather and you could go do what you got to do there. But so Doc, who do you have next as your ad?
Micah Potter.
Do you have original thoughts, or would you like my thoughts?
I'm just reading what Andre puts in the chat, bro. I don't even know. I both of these guys are your guys, which just leads me to believe that you might have stolen my guy. I can't be certain.
I'm 100% sure what I am reading on my screen. And
Micah
Potter. Okay, if I could just channel Dr. A inside of me here for a second.
Hey, I like Micah Potter.
Yeah, you've been a Micah Potter guy the entire time, so you could do this. But he had 10.6 boards, 1 block, 1 3, 24 minutes. Here's what I like about it. I don't expect a lot of defensive stats out of Micah Potter just anyway. He's been decent-ish in that area, about like 1.5 over the last couple of weeks. The percentages are pretty good for him. I expect some regression, and that might be part of the dip that we might see here in the next week or two. But I just like that he's getting 24-ish minutes, 25-ish minutes per night. And I think that he can be at least a late round value in that amount of time. And he also profiles as somebody that might not win games. And I guess I'm putting that pretty nicely. And that just keeps him on the floor more often than not. Let's get to our last ad because Doc.
Hey, Brew.
Yeah.
I can't believe you just had a Micah Potter discussion with yourself.
I did,
in which you did not.
Actually, I think I played you and me at the same time. Doc, you can just take the day off, man. I'll just have a conversation with myself. And
you did not
mention. It wouldn't be the
Jay
first
Huff.
or the 1,000th time. It is what it is.
You didn't mention Jay Huff.
I am contractually obligated to mention Jay Huff.
18
a late
points,
mid-round value.
5 boards, a block, 4 triples.
You know what? This is just ho-hum stuff for Jay Huff. You know, imagine if you were a team that needed a shot blocking, 3-point shooting center to play next to Domantas Sabonis, and your front office didn't even know that Jay Huff existed. Why even have a front office?
Would you rather have Jay Huff or Micah Potter?
Oh, I think it would be Jay Huff. But here's an interesting thing: Ivica Zubac is going to play some basketball games.
What?
Like that was some news that hit the wire. I kind of think the league has just like created this structure where these guys that got traded after all those trades happened, the league's like, Now you're going to play each of them for 4 games in the third to last week of the season, and then you can rule them out. That's what I think is going to happen here.
Well, I told a Ask Dr. A asker yesterday that Ivica Zubac was not going to play this season. So sorry about that, buddy.
I kind of said a lot of that stuff too.
Ousmane Dieng. Brew, what do we got on Ousmane Dieng?
Well, I got 14 points, 4 boards, not much else. 2 threes, 28 minutes. The 3 games that the Milwaukee Bucks needed to lose, though they lost 2, but one of them was to the Atlanta Hawks, and now they are 5 games back, and I'm not sure about the tiebreaker situation. I think the team rolled over again for the most part. Bobby Portis had his. That was one of my predictions from yesterday, so that made me happy. When are we going to get the news? What's the over-under on the Giannis is going to tend to his calf? Is it going to be calf, or is it going to be, or calf, as you guys like to say, or knee? Are we going calf or knee? But Ousmane Dieng, I think. Here's the thing: go to his game log and look at the pop games that he's had, and then when we think about what might be if they shut down certain players, especially if they don't let Cam Thomas run around the yard with the ball. Some Cam Thomas aficionado, I think it was Kevin Chouinard out of Atlanta, said that in a 4-minute span that Cam Thomas didn't let his teammates touch the ball like more than once. It was like really impressive stuff. Ousmane Dieng, I think he can. I don't know about the stat set. I don't know about the percentages. I don't know about the consistency. We've just had so many crazy pop games. Check out the last game of his rookie and his second season, like the last game of the season for everybody. Like he goes off. And that's just a stat. It's a luxury stash. But I think with Milwaukee turning the page soon, that will happen sooner rather than later. All right, let's thankfully turn the page before our sleepless producer disappears us. If we disappear, you guys know what happened. Doc, let's get into the drop zone. Who do you got?
Niederhauser, Clippers center, hurt, missing the next 2 games. It's Brolo season. You didn't need Niederhauser anyway, so just drop him.
All right, let's keep this super actionable here. Nikola Vucevic, 7 points, 4 boards, 1 block, 1 3, and that might have been like one of the better lines of the night for the Boston Celtics. Doc, you called it. I supported it. Charlotte just went into Boston and whooped them. Nemish Keta, 2 points, 2 boards, 1 block, 16 minutes. Peyton Pritchard, 0 points. Ooh, 2 boards. That's it. 24 minutes. I think you just roll this game up into a ball and forget it ever happened, right? Yeah. Like I'm not dropping Keta. Definitely not dropping Peyton Pritchard. That's not even a thing on the table.
No.
But Vucevic is somebody that I think is droppable. Like maybe there's some time where they rest Keta and kind of let Vucevic get going. But that's a lot of wishful thinking right there. I think you can rely on Vucevic for late round value going forward. I'm not 100% sure that that's true, more like 75% sure that that's true, but that's just not enough upside and not enough certainty. And if you are looking at some of these potential league winners or silly season heroes, I think you got to be willing to pull the trigger there. Doc, who do you got next?
Vooch or J Huff?
No, J Huff all day.
Omax or Vooch?
Omax.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough for Vooch right now. Isaiah Joe last night, 0 for 5, 4 points. He played 24 minutes, which I like. I mean, he just had an off night. But I'm just worried that Jalen Williams is eventually going to come back and AJ Mitchell's going to eventually come back. And this Isaiah Joe run is going to come to an end. And maybe last night was the beginning of the end for Isaiah Joe. I don't know. I'm just a little nervous about him.
Bigger game. Maybe they leaned more on veterans rather than the Isaiah Joes of the world. But yeah, it's tough being a backup in Oklahoma City when they start getting to full strength. I'll take us to Portland. Tamani Kamara, 9 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. It's not the worst line Definitely not his worst line of the season. 40 minutes. I think the thing with Kamara that's really frustrating is the percentages have been bad all season long. The PRA hasn't been good. Steals and blocks just not jumping off the page the way they need to. And you're looking at a guy that needs that many minutes to be a top 125 guy. Sure, there's some value to be had in some of the certainty surrounding his play. Portland, though, I don't think they care at this point. They're going to be the 10 seed no matter what. That's kind of the way this is heading. So you could see some rest involved for these guys. And I don't see any scenario where it's like Tamani Kamara just went off for like 2 weeks straight. So as you're looking at higher upside plays or whatever kind of categorical needs or whatever it is that you need to look for out there, I do think you can move on from Tamani Kamara. Doc, who do you got next?
Isaiah Hartenstein. He only played 17 minutes last night. He left with calf soreness. Chet Holmgren has been balling. Hartenstein has been okay, right? He's actually been very serviceable, but OKC's been so banged up this year, and there's no need for them to mess with Hartenstein or Jalen Williams or AJ Mitchell until they absolutely have to. So I'm just worried about Hartenstein going forward, how many minutes he's going to get, how many games he's going to actually play in, and if he's going to bounce back from this. He had 2 blocks in like 4 of his previous 5 games. So if you lose Hartenstein, you're going to be hurting in blocks probably. So you're going to need to find an alternative. And I'm not saying you just drop Hartenstein. We need more information, but I'm scared that this is going to lead to a slew of missed games for him.
Yeah, and standings islands are starting to kind of form in both conferences. But if they get on a standings island at Oklahoma City, it's going to be no question, especially when you got the other Jalen Williams there, who they love to give him the ball and let him get his stats. It's, it kind of honors everything that he's done over the last couple seasons to be just a model player over there. So I think they're going to be very, very quick with the hook on both he and Chet Holmgren. They might leave Chet out there to try to win an award. But other than that, I think it's going to be kid gloves for a lot of these guys in OKC. Let's get to Charlotte, who can beat every team in the league now and is marching to that 6th seed. I really hope that pans out for them. Miles Bridges, though, has been kind of shoved off to the side a little bit. 9 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, 2 threes, 31 minutes. Has a top 25 week heading into this game. So, you can't really be like, oh, we got to drop Miles Bridges now. I just think it's worth noting, if I can speak, noting that he has had a role reduction. I think that's safe to assume he's had a role reduction. And heading into the productive week prior to the suspension, he was really struggling as well down in the 125 range. So, and we might get to a point where you might think there's a higher upside player out there and you'll be looking at Miles Bridges and thinking, has he got mid-round left in him? And I don't think he's got mid-round unless he's going to reach up and get defensive stats, which is, of course, an outlier for him. So he's got minutes, he's got potential, but that potential isn't as great as it once was. And then Ryan Kalkbrenner, 6 points, 1 steal, 2 blocks, just worth sort of bringing up that he had a good game. And who's my guy? Moussa Diabate. Thank you, Brain, for kicking back in. Has had a little bit of a down run here, but was coming off of a monster first round week. So just a data point for us to consider. Ryan Kalkbrenner is, had a little spicy game there. And let's move it on to streamers, Doc. Let's look at who's good for tonight's games. Who's your top streamer for tonight?
I have got Jeremiah Fears written down. And this is for several reasons. First of all, DeJounte Murray is not going to be there buzz killing him tonight. He is out. Fears on Tuesday was terrible. I dropped him, even though I had originally picked him up because he had a 4-game week. I probably should have held on to him in hindsight. On Sunday, he had 28 points. On Saturday, he had 18, 11, 5 with 2 blocks and 2 threes. He should have a good game tonight. And then the final kicker for Jeremiah Fears is he plays Thursday, he plays Friday, he plays Sunday. You got 3 more games out of Jeremiah Fears if you pick him up. So it's a perfect storm.
And Zion, I don't know if you mentioned or not, but he's questionable for tonight's game. And I kind of wondering if Zion and Trey Murphy will see their workloads cut and, eventually kind of drop down to every other game status as they cruise into the finish line, knowing they don't have a draft pick. So why push these guys, and why not develop a guy like Jeremiah Fears? And Derek Queen, my streamer, I'll put him out there. He's due. He's been so bad lately. And I don't know if they want to quite lose him. And especially if you're going to see other guys out, this might be, hey, Derek, you're going to get the ball. We got to see you play some defense. Let's see you prove yourself. Tonight might be a pop game. I don't know if he's been dropped in a lot of formats. I haven't seen it in my formats. I'm thinking it's right around the corner here if he can't turn it around like tonight. But if he's been dropped, I think there's such a potential for an incentive for them to make him play well in New Orleans. It's kind of, I think, an auto ad, but I mean, your mileage might vary, and depending on your needs, you might not look at it that way. But I do like putting a marker down on a guy who has upside and a good situation heading into tonight's game. Doc, who do you got next?
I'm going to go with my guy, Nolan Traore in Brooklyn. He's been scoring lately, but the assists have kind of dried up the last couple games. There's no Igor Joman tonight, so I expect Traore to have the ball in his hands a ton. He scored 14 points on Tuesday and 17 on Sunday, so the scoring's fine. The threes are fine. He's probably going to get 2 or 3 steals tonight, I think, and I'm going to think he's going to get 5 dimes. So I like Traore tonight.
If the points and the assists, man, the efficiency and the question marks in Brooklyn, it's an adventure, but he does have silly season potential. I'll leave it at that. Colin Sexton is my next streamer for tonight. He's been comfortably producing in the late round range. He's just a classic mop-up guy. He's done it at several locations. Now he's in Chicago. They're down a couple guards that joined them at the break. And now Colin Sexton just kind of feels like he's got the pole position. And especially with, Josh Giddey getting dinged up in the last game. Trey Jones, also worth a look as a streamer tonight. Leonard Miller, Nick Richards. These are guys that have produced. I'm not really excited about Nick Richards. Leonard Miller did have a spicy couple games and then a down game against Oklahoma City as predicted. But Colin Sexton seems like a safe streamer with some rest of season potential. So I actually like him a lot as a streamer in tonight's game. Doc, who do you got next?
Al Horford in Golden State. Not coming off a back-to-back. I didn't look to see if they're playing tomorrow as well, but I think he's going to play tonight. He's been off since Monday. Horford had a nice line, 17 6 boards, a block, and 4 threes in his last game. In his last 5 games, he's hit at least 1 3 and had at least 1 block shot. And he's scoring, he's getting rebounds, and he's getting assists. Like, he's playing really well right now. And I don't feel like it felt like there for a while he was only playing every other game, but now I feel like he's become reliable and actually pretty good.
I mean, I think they're looking over at Kristaps Porzingis, who is traveling with the team. So that's kind of nice to know in terms of just, is he going to play? Is he going to be a part of this thing going forward for the playoffs? But if you're concerned about Porzingis, which you rightfully should be, Horford getting him going and really getting him going, if you're going to throw any punches in the playoffs, I think that makes a ton of sense. And they're playing, who are they playing tonight? They got Houston, big time matchup. Also, he can take Şengün out to the perimeter, though they probably won't guard him with Şengün. I'm not sure about that. Either way, Horford against Houston makes a ton of sense on a lot of different levels, and he could probably hold up against Şengün as well. Love that matchup tonight. A lot of revenge factors there from the playoff drubbing that occurred. Let's get to Danny Wolf in Brooklyn. Danny Wolf just kind of low and slow, late round value lately, playing consistently, getting kind of the same amount of minutes, more value than Day'Ron Sharpe. A lot of people want to talk about Day'Ron Sharpe. Well, I think it's time to talk about Danny Wolf as the only possible guy in Brooklyn that I feel good about. Give him a run in this game. Miami scares me a little bit. They could probably shut down Danny Wolf with both of their bigs, who they're playing at the same time, Doc, over in Miami. But Danny Wolf, I think, is the one player that's got a little bit of a stat set, with the PRA and the threes, and then every now and then he'll throw some defensive stats in there, and it really spices the lineup. If he ends up being the guy that orchestrates a lot of what they do in the last couple of weeks, I do think he has inside of the top 100 potential. And with that playing every night, I think that would actually turn out quite well for folks. Pretty risky, though. Doc, you got any honorable mentions for us?
I think Brandon Williams of Dallas, he's probable tonight. So he's been playing well. I think he's a great streamer. And then your Washington Wizards, Brew. I set a FanDuel lineup this morning, and I had Wemby and
All
Luka.
Wizards.
I had Wemby and Luke in there. So I need a bunch of cheap guys, right? Bub Carrington, Justin Schimpeni, Will Riley, Bilal Coulibaly. Like it's the endless list. I love Will Riley. You love Schimpeni. We may have to bet a burrito on who wins that matchup tonight.
I was just thinking that I will bet the burrito, and you're going to need to call that in and call Tacos 39 in Sacramento, which has the best tacos in town. And I'm a taco aficionado, and also I'm half Mexican now, so I actually can sniff out the best tacos in town. And that's going to do it.
Andre needs to figure out who wins that matchup.
Okay, yeah, we could use numbers.
Schimpeni versus
and vibes.
Will
and vibes. We'll go with vibes too. And that's going to do it for this episode of Fantasy NBA today. If you're listening on the podcast feed, take 60 seconds, leave a 5-star review. It really helps us out. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the Sports Ethos channel so you guys never miss an episode. From Doc, Andre, and everybody here at Sports Ethos, we will be right back with our daily fantasy deep dive, available exclusively on the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed and the Sports Ethos YouTube channel. This has been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel.
Fun show.